All right, let's dive deep into the microscopic world of a single bacterium. We're going to explore its inner workings, this bustling internal economy that we call metabolism. It is quite literally the engine that drives all life.
I mean, think about it. How is that even possible? It seems like way too much for one tiny cell to handle. But the truth is, every single bacterial cell is like a miniature city, a complex metropolis of chemical reactions. And the secret to how it juggles all this? Well, it all comes down to managing its economy. And that secret, that core principle of our cellular city, is a process called metabolism. You can think of it as the ultimate financial plan for life itself.
So, what is metabolism really? It's the cell's entire economy. Simple as that. It's the grand total of every single transaction, every bit of energy that's generated, every new structure that gets built, every piece of waste that needs to be managed. It's this constant, incredibly delicate balancing act that keeps the whole city running. Now, this economy has two main divisions. On one side, you've got catabolism. These are the city's power plants. They take in complex fuels, like sugars, and they break them down, releasing a whole bunch of energy. Then on the other side, you have anabolism. These are the construction sites. They use all that energy to build everything the cell needs, like taking simple amino acids and assembling them into massive, complex proteins. So one side makes the energy, and the other side spends it.
And this right here just shows you that beautiful, elegant cycle. The power plants, that's catabolism, they break stuff down and funnel that released energy into a special molecule called ATP. Then the construction sites, anabolism, grab that ATP and spend it to build new things. It's a perfect, totally self-contained economic loop.
Okay, so if catabolism and anabolism are the different industries in our cell city, how do they actually do business with each other? It's not like they can just throw raw energy back and forth. No. Like any good economy, they need a currency.
And that currency is a molecule called adenosine triphosphate, or just ATP for short. You should really think of ATP as the universal cash of the cellular world. Every single time a catabolic reaction releases some energy, the cell basically mints a new coin of ATP.
And this is the beauty of the system. It's so elegantly simple. ATP is like a fully charged battery. When the cell needs to spend some energy, it just pops off one of those phosphate groups. That releases a burst of power and turns the molecule into ADP. Think of it as a partially charged battery. Then the energy from catabolism comes along, reattaches that phosphate, and boom, it's recharged back to ATP, ready to be spent all over again. It's a brilliant, endlessly repeatable cycle.
So, we have our economy and we have our currency. But who's doing all the actual work? Who makes sure all these reactions happen fast enough to even sustain life? Well, it's time to meet the city's workforce, the enzymes. Think about it like this. To get a big boulder rolling down a hill, you can't just look at it. You first have to give it a shove to get it up and over a little hump at the top. That initial push, that's the activation energy. Well, chemical reactions work the exact same way. They all need a little input of energy just to get started. And this is where enzymes come in and are just total game changers. They are biological catalysts. See that blue line on the graph? That's the huge energy hump a reaction needs to get over all on its own. But the red line? That's what happens when an enzyme is involved. The enzyme doesn't change where the reaction starts or ends, it just dramatically lowers that hump, making it so much easier for the reaction to happen. We're talking thousands, even millions of times faster.
And when I say faster, I am not kidding. Enzymes can speed up reactions by up to 10 billion times. That's an incredible number. Without them, the chemical reactions you need to, say, digest your lunch could literally take years to complete. So the bottom line is, enzymes are the reason life can happen in real time. Okay, great. So we've got this hyper-efficient workforce, but an uncontrolled workforce, that just leads to chaos. You absolutely need management and regulation to make sure the right jobs get done at exactly the right time. For one thing, enzymes are, well, they're a little sensitive. Take temperature, for example, which we see here in panel A. Every enzyme has a sweet spot, an optimal temperature where it works at peak performance. But if you get too hot, the enzyme starts to lose its specific shape, it denatures, and it just stops working. This is exactly why a high fever is so dangerous for us. It's literally deactivating our body's essential workforce. And yeah, the same exact thing is true for pH, which you can see in panel B. Every enzyme has a preferred pH level. If the environment around it gets too acidic or too alkaline, its delicate 3D shape gets warped, and suddenly it can't do its job anymore.
And finally, there's the amount of raw material available, what we call the substrate. Think of an assembly line. The more parts you supply, the faster it runs, right? But only up to a point. Once every single worker on the line is busy, adding more parts to the pile won't make the line go any faster. That's when we say the enzymes are saturated.
But the cell has even more precise ways to control things. It actually uses specific molecules, called inhibitors, that act like little on-off switches for individual enzymes. This gives the cell incredibly fine-tuned command over its entire economy.
And there are two main ways this works. A competitive inhibitor, that's the one in the middle, looks so much like the real substrate that it can fit right into the enzyme's active site and just block it. It's kind of like putting the wrong key into a lock. It fits, but it won't turn, and now the right key can't get in. A non-competitive inhibitor, over on the right, does something different. It binds to another spot on the enzyme, which causes the main active site to change its shape. So now the real key doesn't even fit anymore.
And believe me, this isn't just some abstract theory. This is the basis for modern medicine. Here on the left, you see a sulfa drug, and on the right is a nutrient called PABA, which bacteria absolutely need to survive. Now just look at them. See how similar their shapes are? That's the trick. The drug acts as a perfect competitive inhibitor. It gets in there, clogs up the bacterial enzyme, the bacteria can't make what it needs, and it dies. And the best part? Our cells aren't affected at all because we get our folic acid from our diet. We don't even use PABA. It is a brilliant and life-saving piece of biochemical warfare.
So let's just take a step back and bring this all together. We have the cell's economy, we have its currency, we have its incredibly efficient workforce, and we have all these complex systems in place to manage it all.
At the very heart of everything we've talked about is this simple, elegant, 5-step dance. A substrate binds to an enzyme. The enzyme does its one specific job, the products get released, and the enzyme is immediately ready for the next customer. This little cycle happens millions and millions of times every second inside just one cell.
And that really is the main takeaway here. The entire complex concept of metabolism can be understood through this one analogy. It's an economy, powered by a universal currency called ATP and driven by a massive workforce of enzymes, all of which are precisely managed to create the amazing phenomenon that we call life.
It's really a staggering thought, isn't it? Billions upon billions of reactions, all perfectly harmonized like some grand symphony. And it really makes you think about the incredible domino effect, both in causing diseases and in creating medicines, that can happen when just one of those crucial enzyme conductors is silenced or just happens to play the wrong note.